How's it going, guys, and welcome to today's video. This video is a little bit different because this week Mrs. Farmer Tyler actually stole my bag of camera gear, went out to my parents' orchard and followed along as they harvested their walnut trees. I'm going to be doing a little bit of the narration, but for the most part this video is her baby. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
It's Walnut Harvest Day, so Macy and I are over at Mimi and Papa's to show you guys how it's done.
The first step in harvesting walnuts is getting the nuts off of the tree, and that is achieved by the machine that you see before you. This is called a tree shaker, and on the front of this big arm is a clamp that will typically grab the trunk of the tree or maybe individual branches if the tree is big enough, and it will violently shake them, which causes all the nuts to fall off of the tree and onto the ground.
Like to introduce you to my father-in-law, Farmer Jeff Orchard, or as we like to refer to him, Papa.
So this is a good example of what the nut looks like, kind of like a flower here where the hull has split open and the nut is kind of exposed. That will actually pull back even a little bit more, and then the nut just eventually will fall off, or if it's shook it'll just drop off. And up a little further you can see a nut with a hull on it that has not cracked yet, and then a few more that are just starting to crack at the very top. So that's what the nuts look like as they get ready for harvest. This is kind of how they display that they're ready to be harvested.
The nuts are ready, the shaker's ready. Let's see what this thing can do. With all 2,000 trees on this 20-acre orchard shook, it's time to bring in the sweeper.
It's day 2 of walnut harvesting, and today they are still finishing up a little bit of sweeping and some shaking, and then they're going to start harvesting.
A sweeper basically has a gigantic rotary broom on the front, and what it's doing is it's pulling all the nuts into the center of the tree rows, which will ultimately make a windrow that the walnut harvester can come back and pick up. On the rear end of the sweeper you have what is, all I can compare it to is a gigantic leaf blower, and it's blowing all the nuts that have fallen in the actual tree row that the front sweeper can't reach. It blows them over into the next row so that when he comes back up on the other side he can put them into the windrow. Here you can see the blower doing exactly what it's designed to do. sweepers are all finished, they will have blown and swept every single walnut in the orchard into a nice windrow ready for the harvester to come and pick up. The walnut harvester does exactly what you would expect it to do. The driver straddles the windrows left behind by the sweepers, and the machine picks up everything and runs it through the harvester. The harvester separates leaves, twigs, and other debris that's in the windrows and throws mostly clean nuts back into the wagon. Notice the green wagon being pulled by the harvester has what I would describe as like a conveyor chain. This is to prevent all the walnuts from just piling up in one spot in the wagon. Once the harvester fills up his wagon, one of the nut buggies will pull up behind him and he can empty his load. The nut buggy's job is to take the walnuts back up to a semi-trailer and get that loaded so that they can be shipped off to a walnut dryer. The nut buggy backs up to the conveyor belt with the help of a spotter, and once he gets into the right position, the spotter will open his tailgate and dump his load. Walnuts are actually relatively light per cubic foot, especially compared to like corn or wheat or some small grain like that. Because of this, the crew can fill these trailers up pretty much as full as they can get them, but not so full that they run the risk of having walnuts roll off the top while the truck's going down the road. Once the nut buggy is empty, he has to get out of the way as fast as he can, not only because the harvester might be waiting for him, but also because there's probably another nut buggy waiting in line to dump his load. They do this again and again and again until every nut out in that orchard has been harvested, loaded, and shipped. Well, there you have it, guys. That is a pretty typical walnut harvest here in Northern California. A lot of specialized machinery, work, and man hours go into getting those little nuts off the trees and onto your table. As always, thanks for hanging out in the orchard with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.